Hello everyone, welcome back to the Jazz Transcription Clinic, where we dive deep into the moments that have shaped the world of jazz. I'm your host Mirko Guerrini, and today we have an electrifying story that takes us back to a summer night in 1956. Yes, you heard that right, 1956, when a tenor saxophone solo by the legendary Paul Gonsalves not only saved an orchestra but also reignited the flame of jazz in the hearts of many. So this is a video not of that performance, of a later performance, which is the one that I'm going to transcribe. But for now, I want to tell you a little bit more about the story. So it's July 7, 1956 at the Newport Jazz Festival. The Duke Ellington Orchestra, once at the pinnacle of jazz greatness, was now struggling to captivate audiences. The jazz scene was evolving, and Ellington's band was seen by some as part of the old guard. Rock and roll was taking center stage, and the likes of Elvis Presley were capturing the hearts of the youth. Presley, in fact, was about to release Hound Dog, a track that would become a defining hit of the era. In this shifting musical landscape, Ellington's orchestra was at risk of fading into obscurity, but all that was about to change in the most unexpected way. So during that festival, they recorded an album, which is this one, Duke Ellington Live at Newport, which became a milestone for big band, and also that includes the original performance by Paul Gonsalves that changed the course of jazz history, especially for orchestras. So as the night fell, the audience was buzzing with anticipation. Duke Ellington, ever the showman, decided to perform a piece that had been a staple of his repertoire, but with a twist. He announced Diminuendo and Crescendo in Blue, a two-part composition linked by a bridge section originally performed back in the 1930s. But this night, it wasn't just any performance. It was going to be something special, something unforgettable. And this one is Paul Gonsalves into his wonderful soloing. So as the orchestra played the familiar strains of Diminuendo in Blue, the crowd was enjoying the music, but there was a certain restlessness in the air. Then, as the piece transitioned, Ellington gave the nod to Paul Gonsalves, the band's tenor saxophonist, to take the spotlight. What happened next would go down in history. Gonsalves launched into a solo over a driving D-flat blues that would span an astonishing 27 choruses. With each chorus, his playing grew more intense, more impression. His saxophone sang, shouted, and wailed, pouring out emotion in a raw and unfiltered form. The crowd, initially seated and polite, began to stir. By the fifth chorus, you could feel the energy in the audience shifting. By the 10th, people were on their feet, clapping, shouting, and dancing. Leading the charge was a blonde lady in a striking red dress right in the front row. She stood up and began to dance with such abandon and joy that it was impossible not to join in. Her infectious energy spread like wildfire, dragging the whole audience into collective celebration. It was as if Gonsalves' saxophone had unleashed a wave of pure joy and excitement that swept through the festival grounds. Gonsalves, though, didn't just play the notes. He told a story of resilience, passion, and the undying spirit of jazz. His solo was a relentless cascade of creativity, never repeating itself, always evolving. It was a conversation with every listener, a call to feel the music in their bones. By the time he reached the final chorus, the crowd was in a frenzy. The orchestra, inspired by Gonsalves' fervor, played with a renewed vigor. The performance climaxed at a triumphant finish that left the audience breathless and clamoring for more. Duke Ellington, ever the master of timing, knew that they had just witnessed something extraordinary. With a broad smile, he kicked to the audience, "Paul Gonsalves, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now take a break so you can catch your breath." That night, Duke Ellington Orchestra wasn't just another band from a bygone era. They were reborn, revitalized by the sheer power of Gonsalves' solo. Critics hailed the performance as a watershed moment, and the buzz from Newport catapulted Ellington and his band back into the limelight. Record sales soared and the new opportunities flooded in. You know, guys, how difficult it is to keep the energy at that level for such a long time, especially when at your back you have the Duke Ellington whole orchestra, and here is the famous Cadenza. And that, dear listeners, is the story of the tenor saxophone solo that saved an orchestra and reignited the world's love affair with Duke Ellington's music. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Join us next time as we continue to explore the moments that have made jazz the vibrant, dynamic art form it is today. And in the next video, I will transcribe exactly this solo. So see you at the next episode. Until then, keep swinging, and remember, jazz is not just music, it's a way of life.